I couldn't do what I do without you guys. I couldn't. Because I tried it for like a year and I almost died. Yeah, no. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Thursday and we have another episode for you, and we listened to what you guys requested. You wanted more Irish missionaries, and I got two of my favorites, long-term friends, Ana and Rapha. They run our base in northern Mozambique and have been there for years. They've adopted, they got married on the field. You're not gonna wanna miss this one. This is gonna be incredible. And guys, we have an update. If you look back, one of our recent videos, it came out probably just before this. We have an update on the war in Mozambique where Ana and Rapha live. So take a look at that, and even take a look at it before you watch this. It'll maybe give you a little bit of context on what's going on. We love you guys. Hit like, hit subscribe. Please do us a favor. Just leave a comment in there for us. It helps. And sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Iris Global Green Room. Hey guys, everybody, welcome back to another episode. I got my friends, Ana and Rapha Vaney. Vaney?
Perfect.
Vaney?
Vaney.
It's Swiss, don't worry, Swiss French. They're amazing. Ana and Rapha are in town. Why are you in town?
We came to visit here.
Yeah, just for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Came to see everyone.
No, you came to see. So for those of you who don't know, this is the basement of our Iris house where we film these, and we have missionaries coming through all the time. Do you consider yourself missionaries?
Yes.
Yeah, you should.
Of course.
You should. But
As far as I know, yes.
You're not your average missionaries, though. You guys are, Ana and Rapha lead the base in Pemba. That's our biggest Iris base in the world. And you and I, the three of us, have a very similar job. Yeah. Where I kind of run with the team, the Iris Global side, the US side, and you guys run the Pemba base, Heidi Baker's and Roland Baker's base out in Pemba.
Yeah.
Why did you, like when you were praying, like, Lord, use me in the nations, did you ever imagine you'd be doing this?
Not at all.
Oh, I thought I would be in India.
I thought I would be in the Congo.
Really? So, in a nutshell, just to introduce you guys, give us a short version of who you are, why you're here.
Okay, ladies first.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't know what to say.
But by the way, Ana is not on medication or drinking. She's Brazilian. So that's
I'm
the slurring
happy.
of the words. And we knew each other before you guys met.
Yes.
Yeah. And your sister was there the night I proposed to my wife.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, she picked me up from the airport.
Cool. So we're a family.
Kind of. I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, so in a nutshell, tell us about yourselves.
From the beginning?
I don't know. Ana, don't make this awkward, Ana. Listen, the people that want to be on here, they come with a message. The people that don't want to be on here, you guys are going to make me, like, this is going to be pulling teeth. Don't do this to me. Because then I talk a lot, and then people are like, Will, shut up. You talk too much. And I don't want to. I want to listen.
Okay.
Okay, do you want me to get this thing going?
Yeah.
How's your soul? No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
What do you fear the most in this world, Ana and Rapha?
16 years on the field.
How long have you guys been missionaries in Pemba?
All right, I was first.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go first. It's been 17 years.
Wow.
16 for me.
16 and 17.
Yeah.
And what brought you out to Pemba?
Okay. First, I went to do the mission school. Holy Given School at the time. In 2006, right? Yeah. So I went to do the school because I wanted to serve with the Iris. I wanted to go serve in the Congo. And after hearing about some of your guys' trip in the Congo, I was like, okay, let's go.
Did you hear about that at Harvest School?
No, before I went.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard about it. I was like, because I tried before that. I visited NIFENTO years before that. Tried to go back as a missionary. It didn't work out. It was not the right time. And when I heard about the Congo, I was like, okay, that's it. That's the sign. It's doing something there. So I'm going with Iris now.
Yeah.
And I went to the school. And I applied during the school to be able to go to the Congo. And when they saw my resume, my CV, they were like, no, we need you here first. As I was working as an accountant, they're like, we need an accountant now. So study in Pemba, come for 2 years, get the DNA, and then maybe you go to Congo.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up in Pemba 17 years ago.
So how did how did you guys meet? And because you met in Pemba.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then two, how did you guys get to be leading one of the most impactful, I would say, well, it's the most impactful base we've had in Mozambique. And when I say that, I mean like numbers going up, people going out, missionaries.
Yeah.
What brought you to the place where you're like running all of that?
That's a good question.
You asked us. No.
I did. Careful what I ask.
No, but
You're welcome.
yeah, I was first serving in the finance office, finance administrator. Was doing outreach. I kind of made a deal. Okay, I can do that, but I need to go out in the bush and preach the gospel. And I did that the first 6 months, I think, and then it became so much work that I started to do mostly office stuff.
Yeah.
For a while. And that's when I met Anna. You came to start the school?
Yes. I had like no call from Mozambique. That's what I thought. I did the mission school in São Paulo back in 2007. Yes, at the slums there in São Paulo. So we stayed there for 40 days. And during that time, I thought that I want to be a missionary in India. But then when I was at the school, I had a vision one of the nights, and I just saw like these kids, like they look like African kids, and they were like in a dump. And I was just like crying, like with so much compassion for them. But until that point, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know like that God was talking to me about Mozambique. I just have this clear picture about like me working with kids probably in Africa.
Yeah.
But then a few days just passed after school. And then in the end of the school, I felt that I should volunteer myself to be a staff in the next school that was going to be in Mozambique.
Was that Harvest School or Holy Given?
I did. Mine was still Holy Given.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the next school in Pemba was like, it was the last Holy Given actually. Yeah. So I just went to Mozambique to staff the school without ever being there.
Yeah.
So I was so lost. And by then my English was also not great. It's still not great, but was like the beginning. So it was really like difficult for me, but the language and everything. But what I want to say is that as soon as I got like the big truck, entered the base, I just saw the same kids that I saw on my vision that I had in Brazil. They were not in the dump. They were like in a pile of sand, just playing like close to the church. And that I knew it, that there was where I was supposed to be. And since then, I don't think that I thought about India anymore.
You haven't?
No. I did went to India to visit my sister once.
Yeah.
But then that desire and passion that I thought that I had like for India was actually like for Mozambique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I find a lot of people, they elevate what nation they're called to over the fact that they're called to serve anywhere and everywhere. And sometimes those nations become idols in our lives. Like you're like, I need to go to the Congo. You're like, I need to go to India. And instead what you guys have done is created a pathway for people to go to Congo, to go to India, to go to many other nations. And which is incredible. You know, there's not a lot of people have been at the back end or the unseen side of the support system, which you guys are. And you're both incredible administrators. You guys, the amount of stuff that you handle, can you walk me through a day on the Pemba base?
Yeah.
And with the backdrop, and now for the last 5, 6, 7 years, 7 years, there's been war in northern Mozambique, and you guys have stayed through it. You're some of the few that have actually stayed through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So,
what's an average day look like?
It's an average day, getting to the office 7:30ish in the morning, on base. We don't live on base. We live off base. We go there. We drop our kids to school. Go to base. And we either have meetings scheduled with various departments, various leaders, people that need, answer to some difficulties, some question, need help with this, then without help with that. For me, it's I still do a lot of the finance part.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my main job. I have a great, amazing finance team led by all nationals that is leading that. But I still do a lot throughout the day, authorizing things, putting money from here, finding how we're gonna fund this or that. I do still about a bunch of that. And then throughout the day, it's mostly meeting with our leaders, raising up our leaders. We have an incredible team that we've really been working the last 3-4 years, raising up a team of mostly Mozambicans, locals, managers, managing various programs, various departments, and helping them, training them, discipling them into all that.
Wow.
And that's a big part of what we do now.
Yeah, I always say, like, when we have meetings there and we have to introduce ourselves, and I say, I do a little bit of everything, because it is like from help to clean the houses there, or to oversee a construction project, or to have meetings with department heads, or to talk to the kids when they want to talk, or doing discipleship. It's a little bit of everything.
Right. Yeah. So when I had Chris and Jen here, they talked about, we talked a lot about administration, the gift of administration. If like 20 years ago, I was going to say, like, hey, you're going to be in Pemba and you're going to be some of the best administrators there. Would that have excited you?
No.
Absolutely not.
Does it excite you now?
I love doing what I do. I mean, I think because it's not
like,
because I think it's not mainly like the days that I plan to just sit and go through my emails or plan stuff is the day that I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
People come to our door like all day long to our office. Sometimes it's just people that just want to stop and talk.
Yeah.
And we stop for the one. So we just like stop many times what we're doing and talk to the person that is there in front of us. It can be a missionary, it can be a Mozambican. So I think that that's what makes me at least like what I do, because it's not like mainly admin. I do a lot of admin, but I also do like one-on-one or like talk to people. So it's also like relational.
It's very relational. It's not just, a spreadsheet doing something on your own. You end up, and because we've been really diligently raising up people, teaching people, it's not just us. For a year, it was just me in my office, crunching numbers when I was just doing finances and trying to train a few people here and there with a lot of failures, with a lot of difficulties in that. But no, it's really been more, raising up people, lifting up people, going alongside them, helping them to find a solution, finding themselves in this work and how to grow in it. So it's much more fulfilling than it was just behind a screen and just trying to make everything work.
Yeah, I actually find that one of the ways that I look at what I do, what you guys do, is I look at it as a pastoral role more than anything else, and the administration is there. Yeah. But there's just a lot of time just getting in people's life, and counseling and encouraging, and teaching. You know, there's some that are filming this right now that don't see me that way, but you should. No, I'm just kidding. But no, there's just a lot of that.
Yeah.
One of the things I was kind of hoping to highlight while I had you guys here was I would love to speak to the people very intentionally that don't look at their admin, right, or don't look at that gift mix as a desirable one in the missions field. Because I think, and you and I, we've talked about this a lot. Like, I don't want another missionary that's just hungry to hold a baby. Like, I need people that are called but qualified excellence. We need accountants. We need, like, what do you, if you could get your dream team right now, like, what would be the skill set that you would be looking for that carry that missions heart? Like, finance people.
Yeah, I mean, all that you said is true. Like, admin people that are able to help manage things, manage a project from A to Z, that are able to understand. I would say people with skill that they've already learned and grown, but people that are self-learners and can grow into something that is different, that is new. It's a huge skill.
Yeah.
Because the reality is that it's never gonna look the same as what you've learned back home.
Yeah.
You know, doing finances for 9 years, I just did finances, and it didn't look at all like anything I've learned back home. So you need to adapt, you need to grow, you need to learn. So it's not just coming with a set skill. I'm a professional in this. I know how to do this.
Right.
You need to come with a humility that goes with it.
Right.
You need to be the strong capacity and skill, but the humility to realize I can use all that, but I need to figure out how to grow and learn in the process.
Yeah.
Because it's not just enough to have the skill.
And also be willing to do whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, because things just happen there. The other day, I know that we were walking to a meeting, and then we both saw there is a fire somewhere. And then we had to go around the base to try to find the fire. And thank God it wasn't on base. I mean, the neighbor was just burning trash. But it's just like this kind of things. It's not like you are not just there to do finance and you are only doing finance. No, it's much bigger than that. Yeah. And like I said, that people sometimes come to the office. Sometimes they don't want anything, but you can see that they need to talk.
Yeah.
Or even it's bigger than that. Sometimes you're just arriving on base, and then you see someone that usually is like happy, and a Mozambican that is happy, smiling, but today is quiet. So something is going on. So it's the matter of also like be aware of everywhere that is around us, and just stop for them and like talking to them. Because and it's funny because sometimes, I mean, we arrive at home and say, oh, I didn't do anything of my work today. So we work all day long, but nothing like we had a plan. We didn't do what was planned, but there was a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's all the really important, I think, characteristics for someone to be, I think every mission field, but especially in Pemba, is being flexible.
Yeah.
I think that that's really like a key.
So I get asked the question all the time when I'm out speaking and doing Q&A on missions. What's it like to raise a family? What's it like to do marriage on the missions field? How many years have you guys been married?
It's going to be 16.
Wow. 16 years.
Yeah.
Right. And not only you guys
Hormones
married
dates.
like polar opposite cultures, like the Brazilian and the Swiss. I don't
He's
know
more
how
Brazilian
it works.
than I am right now.
You've shaped him well. What are some of the key points in making it work on the missions field?
Grace. Oh man, that's a tough one.
I think for us, it's sometimes when people ask me that, it's like all we know about being married is in the mission field.
Right.
So I don't know what it is to be married outside the mission field.
Right.
So we kind of grow on that, I would say. But I also would say that it's not easy. I mean, we had, and maybe he disagree with me, but I don't think we have any like a huge fight. I mean, of course, there's something that we don't agree, but I don't know if you agree. But I mean, I think that we were learning how to deal with the situations and the problems. But we also saw many like people that just got married and they went to the mission field and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
So right now we kind of defend this thing that if you want to go to the mission field and you just got married, maybe just take some time like away from the mission field and then to get to know like your spouse, especially if it's from different cultures, because it's a lot. And then you go to the mission field, because unfortunately we saw many couples that been through Pemba and was hard, I mean, on that.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm not saying that that is a rule that happens for everyone. No, I mean, for us, thank God, like everything went well. But in the beginning, I remember in the first years, we had to, I think that was first or second year, we had to take a sabbatical, like so early, because it was like so intense and we didn't know how to put boundaries. I think that was the difference. So we learned through the years that we have to put boundaries because there will always be people in need. People will always want to talk to you. I remember we just got married and we were leaving the glory base and we didn't have like a wall or fence around. So it was just like our window. And there was like one pastor that came Sunday, 5 a.m. in the morning at our window, just like calling us. I said, what's going on? It's an emergency. And it wasn't really one emergency. So I think I learned the boundaries is really important. I mean, we try when you arrive at home to not talk about work.
Yeah.
But it's our life, so it's really hard.
We try, but we fail every day.
No, but it's good because we are on the same page. So if sometimes I start talking about work, and he said, no, we can deal with that tomorrow, or the other way around.
Right.
Because I think that that's important for us as family in the mission field.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like there would be
the mission field is really something that it's 24/7. You know, it's not a job where it starts and it finishes there. So it can easily take all of your energy, all of your time. And whether it's marriage or raising children, if you're not careful, if you not put boundaries, you're going to break it.
Yeah.
You know, that's unavoidable. And I'm not sure how we survived the first few years because we knew nothing of that. You know, we just got married and went for it. You know, we met each other, like, you know, we got married 6 months after we met each other, kind of. So it was kind of everything that we would tell people to not do.
Right.
We did it, and it worked out.
Right.
But your relationship with the Lord, I mean, that's a basic thing, but that's the one thing that's gonna keep you sane.
Right.
Gonna keep your marriage working. It's to not lose the intimacy with God, to not lose the going to Jesus day after day and after day. So that's the one thing that keep us going. That's the one reason we're there. And that's what has kept us through all this year and our difficulties and our stuff to continue to run the race together in the same direction.
Yeah.
So it's really a very basic thing, but it's constantly under attack, whether you're in Pemba or in America, right?
Right.
And that's one thing that I've really learned again and again, that we need to guard that.
Yeah.
Because if you lose that, you have no chance to stand.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah.
You guys, I think the three of us, and of course I would add a lot of other team members, but we're here. We have to make potential decisions that are life or death.
Yes.
On a continual basis. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was a shock when I first when I first was put in these positions, right? Where you know that a decision that you make could potentially, like, people could lose their life, or if you don't make a decision, they can lose their life. Or how have you grown into that? And was there a process, you know, because you have war going on, but at the same time, like, oh, we can help this person medical money, you know, like whatever it is, and you just, you know, we can help this person or can't, and you know that could potentially really harm someone or not harm, like it. Can you talk to me about the growth in making those hard decisions? Yeah,
that's a big tension, definitely, always. When when I stopped doing the finance administrator work, and we came back, we took a sabbatical year, and then we came back and started as CEO, whatever. You know.
Oh, I remember that. I was talking with you guys.
But sorry, just one thing. And I remember talking about marriage and this situation too. When we took our sabbatical, we didn't know what we were going to do next. We knew that we were supposed to go back to Pemba. But one thing that we knew for sure is that we were to work together. Because before that, I was working in the baby house or in the children's center, and he was doing finance. So even though it was the same ministry, like was an Iris Pemba, we felt that we were doing two separate things. And that's not a problem. But sometimes it was causing a little bit of...
There's great tension in our marriage because I was part of the leadership team, making decision she was not part of at all, affecting her, or see things differently, and it was causing tension regularly. Yeah. So we thought, if we do something next in Pemba, we want to be more together doing it than on two separate roles.
Yeah, and I remember, Will.
It's funny, now that you're talking about, I have glimpses of calling you guys and being like, hey, what do you think about this role? Because we needed someone out there to take on that position.
And I remember you said, oh, but you guys both working together, husband and wife, I don't think it's going to work. I said, we're going to make it work.
I don't feel like I said that. But I was definitely probably projecting my work relationship with my incredible wife. And it's an incredible marriage because we don't work together.
We're all different, right?
Exactly,
It's for us, it's been great.
So
but
there's decisions, right? Like, especially in the wartime. right? Where it's like you know that the decisions that you make have the potential of.
Yeah. So I was talking about that because it's really just a few months after we started as CEO that the war started.
Yeah.
You know, so as soon as we got into that position, we had to deal with already quite a few hot potatoes that landed on our hand as soon as we started.
Yeah.
But then the war started, and it was like, oh, what the heck? What are we doing now? You know, what does that change? And we had to learn everything. We never went on a mission field with war zone ministry in mind. There was no training into that. As a leader, it was already new. It was a new position, a new role. So everything was, you know, trying to figure it out. So we definitely had a long learning curve, you know, to try to figure it out. What we're supposed to do in this, you know? How we have faith-based ministry. We go to the list of this. We go to danger. We not run away from it. So it was really learning, like, okay, I'm responsible for this decision, but it cannot be just out of my own wisdom.
Right.
I have to hear from the Lord, and that happened constantly. So we learned a lot.
Mm-hmm. We're still learning.
I learned a lot from reading a lot about this type of insurgency, understanding what's going on, where this is probably going, and all of that. Did some training in crisis management and all that kind of stuff. But we're still figuring out, you know, we still don't have the answer. There is not in crisis war zone stuff, there is not really a ABC. This is how it is. You need to go with you need to have a lot of things in place and know and understand, but then you need to make decision on the go as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's also hard because sometimes when you make decision, you're gonna disappoint people.
Always.
Because sometimes they don't see the big picture.
Right.
And they don't know why we're making the decision.
Right.
And sometimes we can tell them. So I think that is hard, especially I think for me, because I like for people to like me. So when they are not happy with me, I feel like I don't like it. But sometimes you have to make decisions that will interfere in their lives.
Yeah.
But it's because it has to be done. Yeah. So I think that for me is the most difficult part. When you know like it's gonna affect the life of people and they won't be happy, even though it's the right decision,
right,
doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah.
So
to give a concrete example, like if I have someone asking me, you know, we want to go to this place, you know, in 2 days, we want to go do this program there.
Do an outreach.
Can we do that? And I look at the information I have, you know, I know there's insurgents moving right on the way there in the last 2 days. So there's a much higher risk than a week ago. I have to make a decision, say yes or no. They expect me to make the decision.
Right.
And so it ended up being on me. I can lean on other people as well. It doesn't need to take all of it on me. But at the end, I often have to go back to, okay, if something happened, you know, if they die, get kidnapped or whatever during that outreach, how will I talk about it? You know, will I call the family? What will I say?
Yeah.
You know, can I justify why I would say yes to this in this current situation?
Yeah.
You know, so if I don't hear something from God, I will go back to try to think, okay, can I live with that?
Yeah.
If this happened in that case, say willing to die for the gospel. Okay. Yeah. But am I gonna be able to sleep at night tomorrow?
It's one of our core values. We will suffer for him if necessary.
Exactly.
Right? So
the necessary part is the thing. Like, is it necessary to go there? Can't we wait another week?
Exactly. I was gonna say sometimes it's not you cannot go there at all. No, let's just wait a little bit longer to see how things.
If it means I can sleep, then they wait a week to go. You know,
right.
At the end, it's not that bad. And then in the same times, you need to be able to hear God. Because he may ask us to do something that make no sense. You know, it kind of happen to us all the time,
right?
In Iris. So you cannot just be based on your wisdom and all of that. You also need to stop and pray, talk to Jesus. And again, as a leader, you need to stay sharp on your relationship with the Lord because your decision is gonna be life or death for people.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a situation that has really stood out to you that you've had to make a call on, and because of the call, you know that like it's Normally, when we make a call, we don't get to know whether it was like the right one or the wrong one. But if you ever had to make some calls where you were like, oh yeah, like there was a, the Lord warned me and there was, an insurgent group there.
Yeah.
Have you had that happen?
Yeah, it has happened. I remember in one specific case where our church leaders wanted to go to help build a church in one district that was free of injury, never been an attack there, ever yet. And I was following a movement of insurgents on the map where they were in the last few days and all that. And I really felt they're most likely going to go there. It was praying all that. So I just called the pastor and say, I heard you were going there. You should wait. Wait a month, wait 2 months, just that things calm down in the area. And we're like, no, but we talked with the pastor there. It's fine. There's no insurgents in the area. I think, no, let's just wait a little bit. And they ended up not going. And in those days, they changed path and went there and attacked a bunch of churches and stuff there. And later on, the pastor got back to me like a month later and say, you remember that time?
Yeah.
I'm so thankful because we would have been there.
Right. Yeah. I it was one of my last trips out there. We went and brought a truckload of food and we left that night like pretty sharp because we didn't want to be out past 6 or whatever it was. And that night insurgents came in and like killed people. It's a very weird, it put me in a weird headspace for a while. Because number one, were they attacked because we gave food, right?
Yep.
And number two, I was able to preach the gospel before we gave food. It's just, it puts, that's just one experience that I've had out there amongst the war. It sent me into a weird headspace. Just processing it, right? If we wouldn't have helped, would they have been attacked? That kind of messes with your brain. Have you guys had some experiences like that where you've been like, we've done our best, something happened, what if we did it? Have you had any of those moments?
I think that many villages that they are like attacking, like almost all of them, right? We did outreach there and like even like giving food in the last months. And we know that sometimes they are attacking because they want to get the food. Yeah. So it is like a hard thing to kind of process and deal with. But we can also not give because we are afraid that they come and take the food from them. It's,
it's again part of the tension of trying to figure out what you're supposed to do, not to do. How to help the people. Like, should we have done something before this? Like we had, I think it was 2 of our youth that we're studying in a vocation school right on the edge of the hot zone where they were operating outside of Pemba. And we got that phone call that they had just fled to the bush because insurgents were attacking the school where they were. And you think about it, like, why? How you didn't think about it? Like, those kids are our responsibility, and they were there. Could have been killed. They spent days walking through the bush to get back to Pemba. And you think, like, did I not hear? Didn't see that. Don't think about it. Why did I let that happen? And so there is those moments where you're like, did we fail these kids? God was there and protected them, but it could have been different. And with quite a few this year, the situation. We knew insurgents were approaching area where we have some kids that were integrated in their family in this area, trying to reach out to them, tell them you need to get out of there, not be able to reach them. So we had a few situations like that. We're like, if we had thought about it earlier, if we'd seen it coming,
Yeah.
So there's this moment where it can be really tense. Very stressful and heavy.
Yeah. I don't know when it was, but for those of you watching, my sister adopted a Mozambican girl from the time she was a month or 2 old, but her father's still alive and they were in contact. And I think you guys, it might have been you, like, hey, we haven't heard from that family. Have you guys heard from the family?
I think that after? We were able to connect with them. Yeah. But it happens, that's the thing with the war. Like sometimes when after the attacks happen, people don't get like news from their families like for weeks sometimes. And then later on we realize it's because they were hiding in the bush. They didn't have like their cell phones anymore. But there is always like these days or weeks of tension that people don't know what happened to their loved ones. So that's hard.
Guys, how do you guys make sure that you're not like, what is it, frogs in a boiling pot of water? Like how do you make sure that you're not losing it under the stress?
Yeah.
Are you?
There's moments we are. Definitely. I mean,
but like we are talking, we have been learning a lot how to deal with the situation. And I think especially with our team there, like Mozambicans and missionaries, we always try to talk about the attacks and talk about the situation, because many people, they just pretend that nothing's happened. I'm not just saying necessarily like in Iris, but like in Pemba. Like people just got on with their lives because it's all they have is there. But we try to be like really like open and honest, like with our Mozambican team and with our missionaries too. We have weekly meetings where we talk about like the attacks that happened the week before, for example. And it's also a good time for people like to kind of share how they're feeling. And I think that that's really important because
keep on talking, not keeping inside.
Exactly. And then you see, I think that it's kind of hard for everybody to be in the same position as like the frogs in the pot. So maybe sometimes want to be, but it's not quite like this way. So I think that that's helpful to talk and to process together. And then sometimes one person will be, no, I think it's fine. And then we said, no, we're getting on this path again. So it's like helping each other. Right?
You need family. On your own. I admire really missionaries that are on their own out there. Doing it on their own, because I couldn't. I couldn't. It takes a lot of people to keep pulling you up, and sometimes you pulling the other up. But
people know Liz. She's been on here. And they got to hear some of her stories about I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, it's fine. But what you were asking, like, how do you know if you're not a frog in the kettle? I wish I knew the answer. I called John, John, a few weeks ago, and asking, how do I know that I'm not a frog in the kettle? I literally asked him that.
I mean, I think one of the things that I've watched you guys do really well is pull in on outside help and outside advice. So the gentleman you're watching is a part of a group that we get advice from, like professionals. And you guys have always done that. You've always, you call us up, you call up groups, you get advice. What did he say? What did he say?
He described the situation that would typically be that. And that was exactly, it was exactly the situation we're in. Like the example he pulled about what it would be to be a frog in the kettle, that was exactly.
Can you share what he said?
It was actually a conversation that I had with someone else about a trip coming up. And it was, if you would have, for example, 3 months ago, never thought of doing what you want to do now.
Because the attacks were closed.
Because at the time the attacks were there, and we would have never gone there, And now you're considering going there when the attacks are here. It's like, what's going on? And then he brought a lot of stuff, and but he didn't attack anyone in the last few days. So just there, And it was exactly the conversation I had with someone. Like, but they didn't attack anyone in the last few days.
The justifying.
Justifying why you would do something that you should not be doing. So it was really good to hear him, because it helped me to pull myself out of it and be like, okay, I understand where I'm at right now.
One of the things that I've watched you navigate. Are you okay talking about this stuff? Is this what you thought? Is this what you thought we were? I didn't know what we were going to talk about.
I had no idea.
But if I can get maybe a little more personal, is that okay? You guys, it's not just the two of you. You have a family. So you have kids that are there. I think you're the only missionary family that has like children of their own, right? I know we have a ton of people that are taking care of kids, but and raising them in the backdrop of that. How have you guys navigated that? And then, if you could, maybe we could start this way. Would you mind sharing some of the story of your family?
Sure. So we have 2 kids, Moises and Ajira. They're both Mozambicans, and we adopt them a few years ago, let's say. So then when we got married, we always knew that we want to adopt, and we never thought about let's have 5 kids our own and then adopt.
Right.
We just thought let's adopt. And for a while, we were trying to get pregnant, and it didn't happen. And then we had the conversation: if we want to adopt, why we have to wait to have our biological child and then adopt? So we just decided to start the process, which, by the way, was a very hard process.
Yeah.
That was a Gira's adoption.
Yeah.
It took 4 years for the adoption to come through.
Yeah.
It was
That's
just
easy
like,
compared to Emily's.
Yeah,
My sister, what was it, 16
I
years?
know,
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
yeah.
So just incredibly difficult to adopt in
Yeah.
Mozambique.
Yeah, it is, because I mean,
Yeah.
could go on and on, many things like losing
It's so
papers
hard.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But it's just so hard, because I think during this time you just think, am I did the right call?
Right.
Did I hear from God that I had to adopt? Or anyway. But then thank God, like, adoption came through and took 4 years. And then we're still trying to get pregnant and didn't happen. And then we also want to adopt again. So but then we went, do we really want to go through this road again? I mean, to suffer like for 4 years or more.
Yeah.
And the truth is, you don't know in the end if they're going to say yes or no.
Oh, we walked through that
And
in
then-
Italia, like
Yeah.
where it was like, it's going to go through, and then they pull back. And
I
you're
know.
like, we've been raising this child
I
for
know.
8 years, 9 years.
And then if they say no, what?
Yeah.
I
What are they
mean-
going to just send him back into a village?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more tormenting than that
I know.
thought.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know.
So then we're talking, do we really want, are we ready, like emotionally and to go to this road again?
It took us a few years more than we wanted to get
Yes.
started because of that. Just like,
But then we just pray and we felt peace about it, right?
no, then
No?
no,
peace?
He was like, no, we did not do that.
Emmeline
My sister.
finally
Yeah.
got the adoption through.
That's true. And then
When she got the adoption through, it was a new judge. It was there was a minor court. It was
Yeah.
not that before.
Yeah.
They understood what they were doing. When we saw that, we saw like, okay, things have changed. There's an opening right now.
Yeah.
And then we said, okay, let's try.
but we did feel peace about it.
Yes, we did.
Yes,
we did.
You did.
So then, but
Yeah.
the wonderful things that with Moises' process, it took only 4 months
Yeah.
instead of 4 years.
4 years
Like
with
the whole
Ajira, 4 years
process.
with Moises.
Wow.
So we just felt there was a
It was a redemption of
redemption of like
administrative
everything.
process.
Yes. So it was like amazing and incredible, and it happened just like the end of the year, right? Because his adoption came through like 20th of December.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was amazing. So yeah, we do have 2 kids and we love them so much.
Yeah,
But it's
Ajira is incredible.
Ajira, yeah.
So is Moses. But
Yeah.
I remember when you guys got Ajira.
Uh-huh.
And she was always around. She was one of the kids from the base.
Uh-huh.
Just stunning teeny. I just remember like this teeny little nugget, just with these eyes.
Uh-huh.
And now she's just this beautiful young woman.
Yeah.
And she's incredible. Yeah.
16 right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
I'm a horrible date. But the thing is,
17.
it's hard like to be on a mission field, like on a war zone with kids.
Yeah.
And it's even hard for us because we had to put the rule for families with little kids to not be there. in
Yeah.
Pemba.
You guys.
But we do have kids.
Yeah. Which
But-
make it a bit awkward, when you tell people, not
Exactly.
with kids, but what about
mean-
us?
But the reason we did that is because we saw how much our kids were struggling. I mean, they were having nightmares almost every week about like attacks happening and things like that. And for more that we try to protect them and don't talk about the attacks in front of them, they go to school.
Yeah, and you hear it.
So
It's
they
just
hear
everywhere.
there.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's been a process. I mean, about like we don't want to hide any information from them. So we ask like every time they're afraid or something to come and talk to us. But it's what we told like other families. I mean, if you really have like the option to not be here, I would say don't be here with kids right now.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's too much. I mean, it's...
Yeah, if the worst happened, an attack on Pemba or something, that's an extremely bigger stress and thing to deal with.
Yeah.
Not just about saving yourself; it's saving your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you, Rapha, and we've had a couple of conversations. I'm just thinking about how I want to phrase this. Okay. I've seen the most horrific things I've ever witnessed. And I've been in ministry 24 years. And I've gone to the Congo. I've seen things. I've just been a lot of places, and I've seen a lot of things. The most horrific things I've ever seen are the stuff that's coming out of Pemba. Or I'm sorry, the Cabo Delgado.
Yeah.
And you're not the only one that I see those from, and I'm thankful that I don't look at the stuff too much, but you get that stuff on a continual basis. I have other people that send me stuff. It messed me up.
Yep.
When I first started seeing the images, the videos, were to the point I don't really watch it anymore. I want to know what's going on, to pray. I want to know, but I've kind of stopped. Maybe consuming all of it. In the early days, I wanted to know what was going on. I heard stories. And so we get information, we get things, and it messed me up seeing that stuff. And I'm not even living there. And I'm not listening to the people share the stories firsthand, which I've heard hundreds and hundreds of stories. Maybe not hundreds, but like a ton. Well over 100 stories. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with serving the Lord, right? Believing for his goodness, believing for the miraculous, and yet you see the darkness of humanity. And the darkness, like how do you deal with that?
It's tough. I mean, I'm a bit like you. I saw far too many things at the beginning. And I try to avoid it as much as possible now. I would receive them, so I would see the first picture of the video or something, and I would not open it unless I have to for a specific reason, which is very rare. But you still see things that you don't want to see. But what I really realize is that it doesn't really change anything for me, seeing
those
or
not seeing those.
No, I know about it. I've seen some of it, too many of it. I have the information that I need, which is where they are, what they're doing, where they're going, how many they are. I have those information that I need to be able to plan and decide things. But seeing the video and the stuff, this is what terror is, terrorism. It's about
bringing fear,
multiplying that terror as much as possible. That's why they publish those videos, So what I really came to realize that it's not going to add anything to me. I'm not going to be more compassionate for the people being attacked because I've watched those videos. I'm not, it's not going to add anything to me. I'm not a researcher, an analyst from some, big security company that need to see those things. I'm just a CEO of a mission organization on the field. So I don't need it. So I would avoid it as much as possible. But I've seen them and I've been messed up by it too. There's some of the early videos I've seen, they're still in here.
There's one
you
in
cannot
particular
unsee it. Exactly.
that I just would do. I would pay any amount of money to get rid of it.
You don't unsee those things. And this is, I've been doing some research a bit on it, and there's a lot of things being said, being taught to people that work in that field. Secondary trauma, basically, that's you get hit by it. Whether you want it or not, you're gonna be affected by it. So I really try to avoid it as much as possible. Sometimes someone will ask me, "Can you help identify this is really happening in Mozambique?" And I would put the finger on the stuff you don't want to see and look at the other stuff around. But it's very rare now. I avoid it.
And so the question is, how will you deal with that?
So I mean, I'm gonna repeat myself. It's always go back to your relationship with Jesus, stuff, because at least that's the only thing I know. That's the only thing that works for me. Is you're talking about how do you still believe in the goodness of God when you see all this? You see the people running away from their homes. You hear the story. You hear the testimony. You see the pictures, the video, all this stuff. how do you not let that affect you? How you see God? Where is God in all this? In all those questions, that's very normal and human to ask yourself.
Just the theological questions behind it all.
And I never really put much thought into it. I would just run to Jesus when I have a chance. I would just go back to that. And I'm not saying that I'm great at it, and every day I make the right choice like that. Sometimes I would just dwell on it. Sometimes I would go to bed and I would not sleep for 2 hours because I'm just thinking about the whole thing. I'm thinking, what if this happened tonight? What if this? What if that? And you start to think about it. But if I can go to bed, put some worship on, and pray while we're falling asleep, that changed everything.
One of the beautiful things that I've seen in the midst of this chaos, right, is I've seen a community of believers that I never knew existed. We've been introduced to a community of specialists that literally, and I've been in missions for a long time. So if you don't learn about the groups that are out there that help with this sort of thing. And honestly, like, I've just fallen in love with some of the brothers and sisters in the Lord that maybe they have done special ops, they were in the CIA, FBI, and that are spirit-filled believers that when they're done, they go and do this, they become these experts. We have, I mean, these groups and organizations out there, the quality that you will never know about unless you're working in this type of work. And we've been able to run into some incredible believers that carry the same heart for missions, but they just have the expertise in this area. And so that's been one of the beautiful things in this, is there's this whole other world in the missions community that are experts, that are just looking to help and looking to serve. And I've really enjoyed that part of it. If you can, but there's incredible people out there doing amazing things. And you've got to meet some of them. I have a couple of other questions for you, if that's okay. Sure. Adoption. You were talking about adoption, and you're talking about that process. Would you mind sharing? Because I think there's a lot of people out there. At least I meet them every week that are struggling with having kids. Is it? Can I?
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about that process? And was there ever a moment when you're like, if we just came off the field, we could just focus on this?
I think for me, I struggle with not being able to have kids for like many years, even though I was always like going back to God and say, your will be done, but I want a baby. There is always this thing. But for me, it was like really a process. We have been married for 16 years, and it was really like last year, I think, or 2 years ago, that I completely gave to God, like this, not having kids on our own. And it was interesting because like every month around that time, you say, oh, maybe I'm pregnant now. And and it's something that I'm not like thinking about all the time, but coming this time of the month, it's like, maybe I'm gonna get pregnant. It's like in my, it's just there. Yes, exactly. But then there was like this month that I just thought, oh, I hope I'm not pregnant. And it was the first time like in 14 years that I had this thought. And then I knew that like I was okay with that. I was like finally in a good place with God, in a sense that I know that I'm not gonna get pregnant, and that's okay because I have 2 wonderful kids. And it was so interesting because like a few months later I went to Brazil and I found out that I had a myoma and I had to remove my uterus. So God just, he just did like perfectly, because maybe if it was like in a time that I was still like hoping to get pregnant, it would be like devastating for me.
Right.
Of course, it wasn't fun, but it wasn't like really, really like traumatic for me. I knew I was okay with that. I said, okay, let's do it. And I thought there was like, until today, I remember how God has a perfect timing for everything. And even the adoption that we had, like the 4 years, we learned so much, and the 4 months, we learned so much. And of course, there was times that I was thinking, if we were in Brazil, maybe I could have done more treatments, like to get pregnant.
Right.
And I did thought about that, like for many years or years ago. But right now, I wouldn't change like my kids for like anything. And I can honestly say that I'm okay with like not having my biological kids. Of course, like sometimes I think if we had like our own baby, how it's gonna look like, or it's gonna look like Rapha or me, but it's not up to me like to decide that. And I know that like God's plans are much better, like 1,000 times than ours.
Right.
So, but it is a process. I mean, it took me like almost 14 years to get okay with that.
Yeah.
But I did had like these thoughts during these years. What about if I wasn't in a mission field?
Yeah.
It's just because I'm a missionary that this is happening. Or
Yeah.
I am a missionary. I'm giving my life for you, God. Why I cannot get pregnant?
Yeah.
And it's just answers that maybe I will never have. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because right now I am in a good place, like with God, that I can.
I've never seen you not in a good place.
That's true.
But if I can be honest, like I get what you're saying, and I'm not trying to lessen what you're saying, but I've always watched you guys in an incredible place with the Lord, and that doesn't mean that you don't struggle. I'm sorry.
One thought that crossed my mind a few times through this year, especially the first few years of trying and not being able to get pregnant, was, and I don't think I ever told you that. It's like, is it because we are on the field?
Yeah.
And because if we have a baby, we're gonna leave, and I need to be here?
Yeah.
Then if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
Would you, God, keep us from having a child because you don't want me to leave the field for a year?
Yeah.
Or 6 months?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah. And I struggled a bit for a while, saying, is it my fault? Because of my calling, because of the way we are running here, and I need to be here.
Right.
And it was totally wrong and absolutely not, God.
Yeah.
But I remember struggling with that for a time.
Right.
Thinking, is it because of my calling?
And what was the resolution? Or was there? What did
at the
Lord
end,
speak to you?
again, it's just knowing God, remembering Him, finding Him, those moments where you see Him, you find Him, and you just no, I know, I trust you,
Yeah.
But it goes along with the whole line of questioning, you're like, why is God not answering my prayers?
Yeah.
Like I was saying, we're giving our lives on the mission field, or I've seen so many people healed and so many things happen, so many miracles. Why when I pray for us with a baby, you're not answering us?
Right.
And I would like to be able to say that those things never crossed my mind, but it did, It just do. And at the end, there's not a clear answer, Like I say, we may never know, but I'm not bitter about it toward God. I never been, I think. At the end, I gave Him my life. He can do whatever He wants, even if I don't like it, even if I don't understand it, it doesn't make sense. But at the end, I'm not my own anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm just okay with that. Yeah.
That's incredibly well articulated and beautiful. I have many friends, and I've met many people that have difficulty conceiving, and I always, this is a 2-part question, so I'm going to throw it out there and answer what you want. One, do you have any pet peeves of Christians coming up to you and being like, let me pray for you, let me give you a word about this? Like, if you could, is there any wisdom you can give somebody on how to navigate that, right?
I just have a fun story about it.
Okay, and if it involves me, I don't want to hear it.
No.
Okay, because I'm like sitting here, I'm like, I might have done that.
I'm not saying any names.
And then the second thing is, what's the process look like about pursuing adoption in the middle of the waiting of that? And because I think a lot of people are scared. They're like, if I adopt, then if we do get pregnant later, I won't let there's just you just hear all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like funny, I would say now.
Give it to me.
And thank God I'm healed and I'm okay with all the situation. But a few months ago, I got like a message from someone and just saying like, I had a vision and I saw you and you were getting pregnant and things like that. So I believe that's going to happen for you. And I read that. I said, I pray, and it took a while. And I say, thank you. I'm not like dismissing what you say. I just want to know. I don't know if you know, but I had one surgery last year and I had to remove my uterus, so there's no way I can get pregnant. But maybe God is telling you that is in the spiritual way, right? Maybe it's not in the natural. So I even
You're
give
so
a,
kind.
I know, I give a way out. I said,
And
no.
they doubled down. Miracle,
Yes.
creative miracle.
Creative miracle of the
And
uterus.
all
Double
that.
down. Yeah.
And then I just leave
nugget.
it. I mean,
The
but
crazy thing is, we've seen stuff like that.
yes, I'm not
can
saying that.
happen.
I
I'm
know,
not saying that it
it's
cannot
crazy.
happen. Yes, exactly. But it's just, if I wasn't like in a good place,
Right.
maybe I would. It would just mess with me, and
Yeah.
would be hard. And we did have like words that we're gonna get pregnant and
All the
stuff.
time.
Give us some insight, because like I'll never forget, I was praying for a bunch of deaf people like night after night after night. No one was getting healed. And finally they were like, hey, I actually just want to get prayer to like receive like a touch from God. I'm happy being deaf. And I don't, and it was like the first, and I was very early in the ministry because I was like, you need this. And I would just go after, or like the dude in the wheelchair that like, hey, do you want to get prayer? Come forward. And like everybody just surrounded me was like,
Assume
come
that
out,
they would
come
pray
out,
for that,
rise
yes.
up, and it's just like, can you maybe help people navigate on how to minister to those, or some of your, to like, come on, like you face this, like people being like giving you words, and did you appreciate it?
I mean, I always hear that you shouldn't like prophesy over like who you're
No
gonna marry.
dates, no mates, no babies.
Exactly.
There's a
But-
reason why people say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
And
many
I-
pastors need to pick up the church members after prophetic words and stuff, And that's a tough one, because you don't want to stop prophesying. But if it's such a common thing to say, don't prophesy every day.
Rafa's got more thoughts on this than I
No.
thought. Give it to me,
Why
Rafa.
would you, why would you? Why don't you just prophesy in your spirit over that person when you know it's something you should avoid?
How many times did you
Yeah.
experience someone giving you a word that you will get pregnant?
I have no idea.
I
Many
don't even
times.
remember now.
many?
Yes.
Give me
Many times.
over 20.
Dozens.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
around like 20. I mean, it
Yeah.
was like 14 years. So it's a
Wow.
long time.
Yeah.
And I think that all comes like, if you are like, and I believe in these words for many years. I'm not saying that okay, maybe that's not the right way to say I believe in these words, but I hold on to this promise
Yeah.
for a long time.
Was it
because
encouraging to you, maybe? Or
maybe by the time, yes. But then like after, it just got like, why God promised and didn't like fulfill his promise.
Yeah.
And then was also, did he really promise? I mean,
right.
so I think that if you are receiving like a prophetic word, I think one of the things that we have to be really in a good place with God, in a sense, like to accept or know in your heart, let's say, if you don't feel peace about it, maybe just leave it. I mean, like the one that I received, is not that I didn't feel peace, but it was different. So it's there. But sometimes people are so desperate and they just gonna hold on into the word because they want that to happen.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, but the only one who knows is God.
Yeah.
And so I think that we do need to like constantly work that in our hearts and with God. If that promise doesn't happen, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna still love God the way that I'm doing, or I'm just like loving God because He promised me something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I have people give me like hundreds of words that are wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the one, but I don't get words about that. And I think there's a difference. Like there is a rule: no dates, no mates, no babies. I've watched people break the rule and seen the miracle come.
yeah.
But in general,
Yeah.
it's dangerous. I think a lot of times people have good intentions,
Yes.
but they don't have them. They're lacking the maturity.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for just being open and honest about that. Because honest, like a lot of people really do struggled
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah.
And more than it was like when Musi and I, when we had the miscarriage, I never heard anybody talk about it until it happened, and then come to find out, like, oh, you had one. You like it's like this. It's this group that's hidden, and until they find someone that's in that same place, it's like then you hear about it.
Yeah.
And then I found out what a third of all pregnancies or something like that go miscarried, and it's like I just appreciate your openness and your honesty because there's so many believers that are struggling through it. The second part of the question was, what do you like? What would you say to someone that is waiting? They're waiting on the promise. They've been given 20 words, and we're waiting to get pregnant before we adopt. What would you say, or what would you say even about adoption?
Yeah, I think it's what Anna said earlier about it. We decided at some point, why are we waiting? Why would we need to have our own born baby before adopting? So it was like, why? Like, is there a reason for it? It's like, no, there's no reason. So we just went for it.
If you know in your heart that like God put this desire to adopt, why wait? That's my question. I mean, unless God told you to wait. I mean, I'm not judging that, but we knew like before we got married, we talk about adopting.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, we just got married, so we were just like newlywed. So we were just waiting to maybe get pregnant. But I don't think that we ever before talk about we're gonna adopt after 5 years of getting married. Like that. Yeah. So it was after like a few months that I think we just talk again and said, but if you want to adopt, why wait?
Yeah.
I mean, unless there's of course something like that is on the way. No, I have to finish my studies or I want to buy a house first. But that's like everyone is different. But if you know that you want to do it, and if you feel like God is on it and you feel peace, just go for it, because you never know how long it's going to take.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be 4 years.
Yeah.
It could be 4 months. It could be 4 weeks. I mean, but it's just like adoption is such a beautiful thing. I mean, long story short, my dad adopted me too.
What? What? You told I don't feel like I've ever heard this before.
Yeah, probably no. Okay, so my family, it's special and I love them.
Beautiful.
But like that, my mom married my dad and they had my older sister, Fernanda, and me. And then they separate, okay? They got divorced. And my mom had me and Fernanda. Then my mom got married again. And they had twins. So that was the 4 of us. But for all this time, my biological dad wasn't really in the picture. So my stepfather, which is my father, I never call him stepfather, ended up adopting me and my older sister.
Okay.
So then it was the 4 of us, and we always like grew up together, always like sisters, like there's no difference between us.
Yeah.
But then when I was
8.
Yeah, thank you.
He's the
number guy.
He's the numbers guy. Yeah.
When I was 8 years old, my mom she had leukemia and she died. So then it was just my father with like the 4 of us.
Your stepfather.
My stepfather.
Okay, but I understand you call him father.
Yes.
Yep, I'm with you.
My stepfather with the 4 of us.
Wow.
So, and then he got married again and he had 2 other kids. So it is like
6.
Thank you, 6 of us.
You got a blended family. Yeah.
6, but we all grew up together.
Wow.
And we all considered like Fernanda is like my sister, as like Marina is my sister.
Yep.
Even though like me and Marina, we don't share like any like blood. We are all sisters. Yeah. So for me, I was just thinking about that yesterday. I could just tell the story for people saying, oh, it was really hard. I mean, my mom is dead, my biological dad, I'm an orphan and everything. But no, I mean, God just like changed completely my life. And sometimes I feel that I can relate to people in Mozambique because many of them just keep saying, I'm orphan, my dad died, so I don't have like all the things. And I talk to them and say, well, my mom also died, but I'm here. I mean, doesn't mean that God cannot like just like write a beautiful story for you. So I don't know why I'm saying that.
I love it.
I don't remember what was the question.
No, I was talking about adoption.
Yeah. Like adoption is like so beautiful. And one of my sisters, she also like adopt a little girl too. So I think that, I don't know. I mean, for me, I never had like any doubts about like adoption. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think that everybody, like if every family could adopt one child, I mean, how beautiful that was gonna be. I mean,
I think the statistics are if every church in America adopted one, just every church adopted one, there would be zero.
Wow.
There'd be zero orphans in America.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Can I ask just a couple more questions?
Yes,
I know
of course.
we've gone
Yes,
for
yes.
an hour, but I two things. I constantly think about the fact that Mozambique is, what God has done in Mozambique is historic. It legitimately is.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a nation of another faith and is now a Christian nation. Specifically, it is. Do you know that statistically? You both paused when I said that. Okay. Especially Cabo Delgado. But if you look it up online, at least last time I did, Mozambique is a Christian nation. It wasn't. I would say greatly because the impact of Heidi and Roland, and missionaries like yourself, our pastors, Iris, the role that God has used Iris. Do you ever like pull back and go, man, I'm one of like these leaders amongst many in a movement that's seen a nation change and change the history for a globe? Like, do you ever think about that you're a part of that, like a major part of that?
I don't think we think about it that much.
Yeah, I don't think that, I mean,
Yeah.
we know that we're part of that, but I don't think that we ever like stop
We
to
don't
think that
stop
we're
and,
part of
you know,
that.
yeah.
I mean,
So the second part would be, you've had a front row seat on watching God do this. And I think sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you don't really recognize it.
Absolutely.
But you've worked very closely with Heidi, with Roland. What are some things that you've seen in their life? And I know like a lot of people celebrate them, but behind the scenes, which we work, like what are some things that you see in the two of them that most people don't see?
Yeah. I think one thing that comes to mind first is, you know, she always preached this message, if you don't quit, you win.
Yeah.
She lives it.
yes.
Like 200%.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. She had thousands of reasons to quit.
Yes.
Over and over and over again. Not just in the past, now, you know, keep happening. But she continues. She perseveres like nobody else. Like the perseverance, the patience in running this race with what God has given her is just astonishing. You know, like if she lived that message like nobody else. And there's a lot to learn in it for me, you know. Just, I mean, I wanted to quit 1,000 times in the last few years too. And probably one of the reasons I gave, not because I had that example.
Yeah.
You know, so many times we sit together, we facing a difficult situation.
Right.
And we pull each other up, you know. Sometimes it's her pulling me up, sometimes it's me that helping her to process it, you know. Because sometimes it's just like, why?
Right.
You know? But at the end, she really living this thing where she would keep going. She would go back to Jesus. She would find the why again and keep running. Yeah.
And they could choose to be living anywhere.
Right.
And they like are still
stayed.
there. Yeah, they
Yeah.
stay like through COVID, through war, and like Rapha said, there is many like situations that just makes us want to quit, and some bigger and some smaller. But it's just like like Rafa said, like if you don't quit, you win. And for me, it's just amazed to see how much God has blessed them. And I think especially Heidi with the anointing to do like to energy, like to have energy to do stuff. I don't know how she does it. Yeah. Like from morning to night, if I have to be there like in a meeting or some event with her, after 1 hour I'm just like so tired.
Yeah.
But she's nonstop. And it's not natural.
It's supernatural.
I mean,
for sure.
it's
not normal.
Yeah, I don't like. I ran with Randy Clark, and Randy, we would go till 1, 2 in the morning continually, like almost every night during ministry. And I was like, wow, this guy's got energy. And then you get around Heidi, and you're like, whoa,
a whole new level. I know.
I didn't know. I didn't know humans can function like that. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, everybody, like all these years, are like, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna like, like, do you know what I'm saying? And listen, she's a person. She's not like being fed manna from angels, but like, you know, that like gives her energy. Like she's a normal person, but like they've all been wrong. That's one thing that I've seen is in the middle of revival, in the middle of this move, everybody comes with their opinion from outside. Yep. They just come, they're like, oh, you need to do it this, you need to build it this way. And there is something about just not quitting and that tenacity where it's like, you can throw the worst at those guys and they're just going to keep going.
Yep.
It's mind boggling.
Yeah.
I would have quit like 100 times and like justified it biblically and justified it like emotionally and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, is there anything else that sticks out? Cause you guys are in the middle of this move and sometimes we forget. I try to remind myself that like history is being written right now. Is there anything else that sticks out? Any miracles that you've seen? Is there any favorite moments over your years at living in Pemba and serving those guys that like a story or something?
Yeah. While you think about it, one thing that comes to mind as well is her continuing to go to the simple things.
Yeah.
No, she would continue to want to go on outreach, sit with a few ladies and just love on them, just present Jesus to them. She never became this, I'm too busy to stop for you. Never, you know. And I think that's a big thing. As her ministry kept growing and growing, she remained the same.
Yeah.
Faithful to what she is called to do, to stop for these people, to love on people. She has been very diligent in keeping that. And that's one of the things that helped her to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, everything we say, the energy to keep doing that and the not giving up, it's also because she continues to go back to the simple gospel of stopping for the one, loving the one, presenting Jesus to one person. That's, as a missionary, I mean, it's, you need to have something that gonna keep you alive in the middle of administrating revival.
Yeah.
I just think that it's amazing how, like, when they hear from God, they just go for it.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible to see that if they didn't answer like God's call for Mozambique or to do mission schools or to start a base, my family, us and my kids, we exist, let's say, because of them. Because we met in Pemba. I met my kids in Pemba because they were part of the children's center.
Oh, yeah.
So if they didn't have like answer like God's call, probably I would still be in Brazil or other place, I don't know, or other country. But it's just like, and it's not just us. How many families?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
70 plus bases around the world, touching hundreds of thousands of lives.
It always started like because of them.
And, if Heidi was here, she'd be like, no, it's RB. And I would agree, right? It is just their obedience to say yes to the Lord. And that's one of the things that fascinates me with this move of God, this, I would say, the Pentecostal spirit-filled move of God that's taking place around the globe right now. And you can keep tracing it back. You can, look at Heidi got touched on a reservation, because of a woman, but then got filled up in 95 in Toronto when Randy gave her a word. Like these moments of people being obedient to God, what it actually leads to. It's crazy. And just, I think, I know I've heard you share your testimony and how you got to Pemba. It was like a tape, wasn't it? Or no?
Yeah, I heard her. I downloaded the sermon from her online.
Yeah, it was an
my
online
office
message.
Yeah.
For me, I'd heard the stories and I was like, oh, Jesus, like you are this thing that I look at is like this chaotic move of God. Like there's actually something happening out of it more than what I can understand. And I went, I had to go see it. I had to go see it work amongst the poor. And it's really beautiful what one life in obedience can accomplish. And I have 2 lives in obedience and it's sitting here in front of me. And, you know, I know that we're friends, but I couldn't do what I do without you guys. I couldn't. Because I tried it for like a year and I almost died. No, you guys are a godsend. And what I love is just, you know, as Musi and I were missionaries, you guys were there and we got to do life together. And now we get to do life in a different way, you know, across the world together. Yep. But you guys, so much of what we do wouldn't happen if it wasn't for the 2 of you guys. And I need you guys watching. If you've done a harvest school, if you've visited Mozambique, if you've encountered these 2, let them know, because if you've sewed in to Iris Ministries, if you've prayed for the kids, like these guys right here, we didn't even go into it, but these guys handle so much of what goes on and they do it well. And none of us do this perfect, but we do it to the best of our ability. And it's actually brings me great joy to introduce you guys to people behind the scenes. So often we hear the revival in Mozambique, and rightfully so. Our first thought goes, you know, Mozambique, Heidi, Roland, you know, the Mozambicans, and I love that. But there's a team behind. There's a team of missionaries that handles every single one of you that donates, and that finance goes to Mozambique. These guys are there stewarding it, making sure that it's handled well. All of it, all of the policy, like these guys are there serving with a massive team, and it is not, you're not just there alone, okay?
Not at all.
However, you are in a position that very few get to be in or have like made it as far, because it is a hard job. It really is. It's one that is done with joy. We do it with joy, but it really is like, it is a taxing job, because none of us do this. And I even look at it as a job. It's a calling job. It's passion, but when you're dealing with the amount of stress and people and trying to balance obedience to God, excellence, and all, it is more. It's a lot, and you guys do it well. And so listen, as you guys are watching this, I want you to hit like, I want you to hit subscribe. How can people get in touch with you if they ever want to get in touch with you? And what do you not want them to get in touch? Like don't ask us to come to Mozambique or whatever. Like, you know, this is where you can connect with us financially. Like, I don't know, whatever. Like, what? How can people connect?
They can email us, right?
Yeah, email us, social media.
Yeah. What's your social media? What's your? And who's the better poster of
her?
Follow
Anna.
Do you want a bunch of new followers?
It's okay. I mean, I post a lot about the cats on base, but
that's it.
That's the thing. We need to have fun.
Keep us sane, right?
Exactly.
We
need to have fun.
People don't get it.
And sometimes would be like, my fun would be just follow a cat around, see when she's gonna have the baby. I mean,
I love
fun.
That. I love Liz's Instagram, because it's like every few days you just see her like holding a dead pit viper. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
What's your Instagram?
It's Ana Vaney.
Okay. I don't know what you just said.
My name.
Yeah, I know. But
Ana Vaney.
Okay, so that'll go down below in the description.
Okay.
Do you not want to give yours?
Oh, you can have mine. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I'll give it for the description.
Yeah, it'll go in the description. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
So many things. I'm kidding.
Yeah, like what?
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, thank you for having us.
No, I know the question. How long are you guys going to be in Pemba?
No.
You don't want to know?
No, I don't want to know. It's forever, or it's until no. Last question. If you were to write a title for the book, your book, what would it be? It sounds like a stupid podcast question.
No,
like I prepared
do you know what is worse?
Hey.
I just came up with a title.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Crazy Life of the Vaneys.
Okay.
The Crazy Life of the Vanneys.
Yeah.
This is what we'll title the podcast, or at least maybe a subcontext. James is off camera. James is one of our producers of this podcast. James, you've lived with these guys. Yeah?
They're amazing.
Yeah? Come on over here, James.
Yay, James.
Sorry.
We love you, James.
James, here, sit down. I'll give you. By the way, this is James, guys. Maddie's back there too. Maddie and James make this whole thing possible. Sit down, James.
Okay.
Anything you want to ask him?
Oh no, I would only want to thank them. Previously, they said about like families couldn't be on the mission field, and when I got to go back to Mozambique recently after 4 years of not being there. We were the last family as missionaries. And I said to them then, and I'll say it again, thank you. It was the right call. These guys are amazing. What they do through this period in the war is insane. So, I'd just say thank you so much.
Thank you.
And continuing on there, where it seems lonely because there's not as many people. But I'll just say thank you because it's the right call for my family and for all the other families. So.
Yeah.
We really appreciate
that's
it.
one example that was really hard, like to have to talk to Jessica and James about like maybe not staying in Pemba because we love them and we were working like so well, but they had like 2 little kids. And
one was in
one
the
and a half.
belly.
Yeah, 1.5. But yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad they still like us.
We love you guys so much, and we know, like, 100% you guys hear God. Like, that pastor that came back to you and said thank you, that's the same as how I feel. And I know a lot of people will feel that way eventually too, if they haven't already said that to you. Time will tell, and, you know, when we're in heaven, we'll see all the implications of these hard decisions you guys had to make, because they were full on, and it's not easy. And we just want to honour you guys because it's incredible what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is.
Yeah.
You want to sign us out?
No, I do not.
Why not?
There's a reason I'm behind the camera.
No. Give us you can pitch your movie.
Oh, yes. There's a movie about what's been happening there in NIFENTO, which covers some of the story in the background and sets some context for what these guys have been living in and still live in. So check that out. We'll have another link to that. Below.
It's back in the videos. Like
Yeah.
if you look back, you'll see it. There's a trailer. They probably can't hear. There's a trailer and the video, but find it, watch it. It'll let you see. Find it, watch it. It'll let you see what's actually going on behind the scenes. And as now after watching that, you can see what these guys are managing. And really what you guys do is hold up Heidi and Roland and the teams and the Mozambicans' arms. And yeah, we get to do this because of you guys. And I have a lot less stress now because of you guys being in your role. So we love you guys. Guys, I know that this is not the most common. You know, maybe you signed up because you saw the Steph video, which I get. But this channel is more than just an interview of like well-known Christians. My prayer, our prayer in doing this is that you get a missions bug. And you sign up and follow in obedience. All of this, all the people I have on, my friends and some very few new friends, it's so that you fall more in love with Jesus and give your life away. That hopefully these stories are less obscure, less rare, and more you can see your life in the lives of the people that I have on. So listen, we have a website, irisglobal.org. Reach out, contact us. We got trainings, we got mission online training, we got training around the world. Go to the website, check it out, and maybe when Mozambique opens back up, or Pemba opens back up, because you can visit Maputo, we'll see you guys there. Anything you want to say? Sign out?
Oh, thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us. It's an honor to serve Jesus with you guys.
Yes. Thank
We
you
love
for
you.
trusting us. Yeah, with the hard job.
I trust Rapha. Yeah, but it's the one flesh clause. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, girl. You want to sign us out?
Like and subscribe, comment about things, and these guys do have a newsletter
They do.
that we will get in the description somehow. Bye.
You guys did great.